I do think that it's really important that bedrooms feel personal.
I wanted you to have that feeling straight away that you were in a different world.
And it's an extravagant joy to sleep here.
Tend to organise the rooms into colours. This room was really that sort of pinky lilac theme. My friend Colin Orchard, he designed these beds. I had to choose in a hurry a colour, got my raw paint chart out and went for bright red. When it arrived, I was a bit overwhelmed. And now I'm really happy with it, I really like it. Also had a collection that we found over the years of these Ramiro Fernandez size pictures. And the set that I've got here are the story of the Garden of Eden. It was a huge purchase. It's that thing, when you're doing up a house and you have a budget, and it's cooker or pictures, and you go pictures and then worry about the cooker later.
This is now my bedroom, and this is the room that sold it for me because outside the window is the magnolia tree. I wanted to put fabric on the walls because I like that feeling in a bedroom that when you shut the door, you're enclosed in a sort of womb-like experience. And so the dead quiet of having the fabric on the wall is great. So this is one of my fabrics quite a long time ago. I'll probably change it quite soon and put a different fabric on. I did start out with just plain pink linen. So as it's my house, it does change quite often. Rather than move house now, I just like changing things. But my bed's very important to me, and my bed linens are something I also collect. We've got lovely Porto baby pillows on the top. It's very comfortable to have a baby pillow. Then I have a goose down, sort of European pillow, and then I have a big square French pillow that if I want to read, I can sit up against. It's a little bit firmer. And then I have, from Tomasz Starzewski, I have this lovely sort of large lavender bag, which I sort of sometimes lay on top of the pillow, and all the lavender smell goes down. That makes you sleep, or helps you sleep, I believe.
Well, I've never had a bedroom like this before, and it's an extravagant joy to sleep here, to spend time in this room. I wanted to create a sort of heavenly, upholstered paradise. So I use Lusmore, which is Jean Monroe, and which is one of my favorite fabrics, and I always wanted to use it somewhere, and I sort of got my chance to do it here on my own because there was no restrictions. Since we're using one pattern fabric throughout, I think it's very important to use a contrasting tape for the walls. So you can understand each wall where it begins, where it ends. We're using these onion tassels by Samuel & Son on the curtains, and hence as well for the headboard. We used this pink fabric by Pierre Frey, Rouge, just to as well separate it from the wall behind. I love these lampshades. They're very interesting because we found this antique embroidered flowers that was last time used on one of the Guinness girls' wedding dress from the 1920s. So we used them on both lampshades. The chandelier in the bedroom is actually Murano. It was custom made for this bedroom. One of my favorite is the painting opposite the bed, which is by Oliver Messel, of Mrs. Patricia Plunkett of Barbados.
I wanted the bedroom to be quite warm. You know, the curtains are cream velvet and the bed is upholstered in velvet. Again, because this is quite a small room, I like having mirrors in here because you can see the wardrobes reflected in it, and it makes, I feel like, gives you double the sense of space. This is an Alan Jones that I got a few years ago. The colours didn't really go anywhere else in my apartment other than in my bedroom. It was quite a challenge actually mounting it to a mirror, and it has fallen down once before, and I'm always concerned that it might actually decapitate me in my sleep. But if I'm gonna go, that's kind of how I'm fine being killed by my own Alan Jones. So that's I got these bedside tables at the Old Cinema in Chiswick. They're early 1930s. And I love how deep they are because there's obviously not a lot of room on the top of them. And they're great. I just love like the burr wood, and I think the shape of them matches the shape of the bedhead really well. The cheetah I got on Portobello Road, and growing up around the corner, I got used to knowing how to haggle with everybody so I get a good deal. So yeah, I got him for a bargain down the market.
Here we are in my bedroom with this crazy wallpaper, which is a discontinued Laura Ashley paper from the 80s. I decided to use it because I couldn't really hang pictures in here. Slopey walls made that impossible, and when it was painted, it just felt very, very blah. So I collected it very, very slowly, roll by roll, when I could find it on eBay. And then eventually I had enough. There's no other wallpaper anywhere in the house. And I wanted you to have that feeling straight away that you were in a different world. There's something about the stairs. I grew up in Oxford, in tall Victorian houses, lots of stairs. The fact that the pattern goes up over the ceiling, it's so enveloping. And I guess it's not for the faint-hearted, but that's the bit I like about it. So then I thought, okay, curtains, what are they going to be? What can stand up to this pattern? And I carried around a little bit of this paper in my bag for a really long time, trying to find something that would work with it. And eventually I went to Benison, and this is a pattern of theirs called Chinese paper, and it just found all the colours so perfectly. And then I trimmed it with a little bit of this red binding so that you just knew where one thing started and the other stopped.
I do think that it's really important that bedrooms feel personal. And so that's why I already have so many pictures around, because it makes me happy and I like being surrounded by the people that I care about. As you can see, I wanted everything to be quite fresh and bright. So I used setting plaster from Farrow & Ball on the walls, which I just think is the go-to color and kind of is perfect. I didn't have any big paintings to put behind the bed. So my mom came up with this idea of putting one of her new fabrics, Carnation Stripe, behind the bed, which I actually think looks great, and it sort of acts like a big piece of art. This is a chair that we actually found at Kempton that was falling to bits, and we just had a slipcover made with my mom's fabric, Jolie Madame. I think it ties the room in together quite well. Floral, pinks, yellows. And then my favorite thing in the room are these Hungarian watercolors of traditional costumes. I think they are so beautiful. We still have some more, which we haven't even framed yet. I think they could look great, actually, all around here. So we are in my bedroom right now, currently sitting on my bed from the original bed company. I saw this online and automatically knew I sort of wanted a 4-poster type bed. Obviously the dream would be I'd have like lots of curtains on it, but still working on that. And I think the nice sort of purpley color against the sort of almost arsenic green wall works so well. And the color's actually also from Papers and Pain's historical collection. I think it's called Sev. And I just love sort of hanging all these pieces that I've collected throughout my life, like all the evil eyes I would pick up when I would be in Greece every summer, and all these beautiful crosses. I think this is from Venice. This I actually made. It's just these certain motifs that I'm drawn to, and they just keep coming back, and they keep finding their way back to my wall. Those are 18th century hand-colored prints of just beautiful garden scenes. That little needle point is of Pepito, the love of my life, my son. And it's just so cute. Olympia got it for my birthday last year.
I really wanted this 4-poster, which I just coveted forever. David Hicks, Billy Baldwin, Vir Grenny. I've always loved it. So that was a big splurge. So I'm so pleased with how that turned out. And being inside that bed is very calming and soothing and nice. And then the really grown-up thing, which I'm so pleased with, is having a dressing table, which does feel like a grown-up / princess moment. All that light on both sides, and I love that mirror, so that it's not that big mirror that then blocks the entire window, which is a sort of trouble I always find with putting dressing tables in front of windows.
So when I came here, they had a bed like this going here. But I quickly realised if I did that, I wouldn't have any storage, and I had found this wonderful wardrobe that I wanted to have. And I also love sleeping like that because my children often come down and it feels very welcoming because they come straight in. But I've had a lot of people telling me, oh, it's bad feng shui. You shouldn't be sleeping like that. But again, I think you just do, what works for you rather than obeying some kind of rule. So this chair was in my cottage. So I think the patchwork must be 100 years old. It's made in that way, when it's not sewn, it's kind of stuck. But you must use things. I don't want to have things like a museum, so I don't mind that it's worn out a bit. These cushions are what I sell on the Tolstoy edit. They're Russian roller fabric, and I adore them, but I'd actually bought them and put them in my son's room, and they kind of didn't really work there. And then every night, inevitably, I have one child sleeping with me, but they all kick me. So this is the most perfect bolster cushion which we have under the duvet, and I don't get kicked anymore.